All right, Dirty Sports episode 852 live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Southern California, Joey No Chill Prano.
From the Smut Studio in Venice Beach, California.
Your background is tripping me out, man.
I've just been playing around with different backgrounds. You can see if I move, I'm just sitting there with an ice pack on my bad knee. It looks like there's an arm coming out of my shoulder. But I was thinking, this is what, I gotta get back into the Smut Studio vibes. It's nice to see the Dirty Sports Podcast presented by Miller Lite.
Yeah.
It's good.
So many memories.
Yeah. Memories.
I'd be lying if I didn't think of who's living there right now. Or maybe it's been multiple people since I left the Smut Studio.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear.
Like if those walls could talk, right?
Yeah.
And, it's
if those walls could talk, they would say, it's 3 a.m. Are you really eating a cheese stick right now? If those walls could talk, they'd be like, listen, we've got a fresh coat of paint on us. Carpets, can you do something about yourselves? I mean, you're fucking making us look bad.
Hey, man, I started turning around with that apartment.
Yeah.
This might be
the mayor coming in, like just breaking into your apartment randomly and cleaning your carpets. That was a legendary weekend.
Oh yeah, that was a legendary.
Like I was gone. He was like, I power washed your fucking carpets.
Yeah, that was a total mayor move right there.
When's the last time you talked to the mayor?
Well, it's been about almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I don't know where that I don't know. I think that relationship might be on the
I'm gonna have to pop in some weekend, some summer weekend, just see if pool volleyball is going on. Be like, what's up, mayor?
You think he's still running it?
I mean, come on, where would the mayor go?
Well, this might be
like final... somebody. It's like somebody in the mid '90s, like taking a couple months off from watching baseball, and being like, "Yeah, we should go down to an Orioles game, see if Cal Ripken's playing." Like, do you think he's still playing? Yeah. Where's he going, guy?
Yeah, sure. This might be the final episode at my parents' old house.
Because Rip Wall Street. The times they are a-changing.
Well, this is probably, not probably. This is the second most episode. This location is the second most ever Dirty Sports episodes outside of the Smut Studio. So the times are a-changing. I've been battling. If you guys go on my Twitter, I had some day one.
I knew this was I was so certain that this was gonna happen.
I had some day one issues with the house, with something with the AC unit, and it was spilling out stuff into my drain pipe. First of all, shout out to DirtBall Stolzy, who always calls into the show. I slid into his DMs, ended up calling him, and he helped me out a lot. He's gonna come to, I don't even know what you call it, Dirty Sports Headquarters 3.0. Next week he's gonna do some work.
Yeah, Casa Roscoe, that's what we're calling it.
Casa Roscoe. Hey man, he can get his own room if he wants. No smoke room, cool.
Roscoe's Chicken and Podcasts.
That'd be a great podcast name. So yeah, so shout out to him.
I want the podcast I want, and I think you should start it. Is No Homeowner, and just have people on who have literally, all your guests have to be people who have bought a home in the last year, just complain about the things that happened in the first week. My sister will come on and do 5 straight episodes. I knew this was going to happen because I watched Gabby buy a house and she was so excited. And like day 2, She's like, "Oh, we got the keys today, and the fucking I need a new septic system." I was like, how does that even happen?"
Well, I'm still excited, but I didn't freak out. It was more of like disbelief. It was more of,
Yeah, you should be still excited. I'm telling you, that's why I was like, we're gonna have an Andy Ruther freak out, because what you're unaware of is like this happens to everybody, but
I know.
everybody's so high,
Yeah, but
when
not
they get it, and then they're so low.
not day one. Again, if you look
Yeah.
at my Twitter feed, I posted those pictures. Not day one. Also, the freezer doesn't work. So like it just doesn't get cold enough, which we knew they said they had it repaired. But by the way, the former owners the homeowners have actually been great, and they're going to take care of that. But yeah, you battle some things for sure. My issue, as you know, and you're just going to say, well, no shit, Ruther, it's control issues. So when there's like a issue that I can't handle, like that, where I don't know HVAC stuff, I don't know plumbing stuff. Yeah. I'm just like standing there. What do I do? Because you know me in control issues. That's something that I battle. Dude, it is creepy when you move. I see Joe Prano this is like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
It's like Joe Prano from the past. I do want to say, before we jump into everything, because we're talking about all this home stuff, I got my carpets cleaned today.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you're going to love this.
You're at Walt Street or at the new place?
At the new place.
Okay.
At what do you call it? Casa de Roscoe?
Casa Roscoe, yeah.
Casa Roscoe. And gotten a great discussion. I thought of you because I'm already doing the door-to-door Kobe Bryant salesman. So
Right.
So I want to give a shout out to Ty who cleaned the carpet. But we agreed. Think about this. I found somebody who agreed with me on Kobe's status. And then we talked all these other things. And it's just like, it's amazing that where I was and where I am now. And I was telling him about that. But he gave me a wild take. He said Steph top 5. And I was like,
top 5.
I was like, yeah. I said, look, I agree. He's top 5 as far as how he changed the game. He's top 5 in my opinion.
Top 5 that's reckless. You know what I found? I was talking to our friend Tony Calabrese, who I mentioned on the show a couple episodes ago, and he's suddenly, like, late in his life become like a Derek Jeter stan for some reason. I think he just likes to have hot take arguments for things we say on the podcast because he's sort of a new listener. But he sort of forced me to realize, but essentially all I care about, like I have some athletes I don't like for, particular reasons. Like Carmelo Anthony is a selfish piece of shit who doesn't pass and derailed my franchise further. Yeah. Tom Brady's a cheater. Like but for the most part, all of my athlete arguments, it simply comes down to overrated or underrated. That's it. That's literally all I care about. It's like when people think somebody's better than they are, I can't handle it. When somebody thinks people are worse than they are, I can't handle it. Now, if you're in the right realm, we can agree to disagree. But when you're out there,
we could maybe create that as a game on the show. I just toss out an athlete. But like a lot of these would be easy. Like if I said Tim Duncan, we're both going to say underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, underrated. If we say Kobe, overrated.
Kobe, overrated.
But if I say Dwayne Wade, like, what do you say?
Dwayne Wade, probably properly rated,
right?
But maybe slightly overrated. Like, you still got to consider the thing. Like there's certainly been moments. I think that Dwayne Wade possibly overrated, pushing overrated, nudging overrated is like when people use him. Like, remember when LeBron first joined the Heat and they were like, who's going to be the alpha? You're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah. But that's the kind of thing where it's like that, just the fact that conversation happened
but
that's like nudging overrated.
he got a Finals MVP, I think, in his third or fourth season.
Yeah,
had like averaged almost 35 a game in those finals.
Yeah, no, that's why I think properly rated, because, I don't people probably have him in the top 3 or 4 shooting guards of all time, in the top, like, I don't know where people have him in terms of like all timers, but like I would say pretty properly rated. Maybe if anything, just like a hair on the overrated side.
And we could do this with everything. Bagel sandwiches, overrated, underrated.
I mean, I think bagel sandwiches, like, overrated by East Coasters, underrated by like everyone else.
Sure.
Like, East Coasters just can't handle when there's not a bagel sandwich somewhere. And then like at some point you get over it and you're like, listen, it's fine. But like, I mean, I remember it. I mean, even to this day, sometimes I'll be hungover and I'll be like, the fact that I can't get a bagel sandwich makes me want to like eviscerate the entire state of California with a nuke, But I mean, bagel sandwiches, it's hard to overrate them.
Here's a good underrated food. I think breakfast burrito. Or are they overrated? What are breakfast burritos?
I think breakfast burritos are overrated.
I think you're right. I was going to say underrated.
People like the people who wake up and are like, need to get me a breakfast burrito. There's way too many of those people, considering like the general quality of a breakfast burrito is not super strong.
Okay, here's a good one. Condoms, overrated or underrated? I mean, that's a fair question.
I think that, yeah. I mean, I think maybe properly rated. I think maybe properly rated, because a lot of people overrate them. A lot of people underrate them.
Yeah.
It's all about where people are on either side of the overrated or underrated.
I think there's got to be, is there a Twitter feed out there that's just overrated, underrated?
We should start it immediately. We should also, it should be a recurring segment on the show.
Yeah, it is. Your hand in back of you agrees with your leg, with your ice pack. How is your knee, by the way? We haven't talked about that in a while.
My knee is a lot. I mean, it's a lot better. I wouldn't say I'm like, well, first of all, I'll say this. I'll never be all the way back. All the way back is out of the question. I'll always have a bad knee. I'd like to get my hardware out, but that's a difficult thing to do, because you just have to have like a, like to go in for major surgery just to get some shit out. It's kind of ridiculous. I would like to have it out. It's also like it would also be a difficult thing insurance wise to convince them to let me do, because doctors would say you probably don't need it out. I would love it out. I'll never get all the way back. I'll always be bad knee guy. It doesn't hurt regularly now, which is nice. Hurts when I play some golf. Hurts when I if I go too hard on the in a surf. There's still pain post like over usage. I'm old. If this had happened 10 years earlier, I probably would have a whole different like exercise. I'd probably be like super committed to like strengthening everything around it. It's fine. I'm just bad knee guy for the rest of my life, because some fucking stone dipshit doesn't know how to snowboard.
That's
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. One moment changed the rest of your life forever.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, if you see me stand on stage now, and I notice it after the fact, I stand almost completely on my right leg. Like I do a lot of like crossing my leg over. Like
interesting.
Unless I favor my right side all the time now.
Well, yeah, I get, so, I've dislocated this shoulder, my left shoulder 3 times. The amount of favoring, and that started 22 years ago. The amount of favoring, I favor the right shoulder. It's like your natural instinct. Let's do one more though. Overrated, underrated, because it'll segue into the news. Draymond Green, overrated or underrated? And here's why. He wants that max deal with the Warriors.
Well, he obviously overrates himself.
Yeah.
I think Draymond Green,
at this point of his career,
It's tough. A lot of people overrate Draymond Green. A lot of people underrate Draymond Green. I'm going to say overrated. Overrated because I know he does it with flair, and I know he brings there's a certain amount of Rodman, Rashid, like all the the getting under people's skin, all that stuff that is important.
Oh, come on, man. You can't compare him to Rodman.
No, I'm saying, but he brings a similar vibe, right?
Okay.
I'm not talking about, obviously he's not pulling out 40 rebounds in a game. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stuff that he does outside of the statistics, I think is important, but here's the deal.
Team chemistry.
Here's the deal. You could very easily replace Draymond Green with a million guys, maybe not a million guys, but a lot of guys, dozens of guys historically. Like Charles Oakley's probably better than Draymond Green.
Well, I agree. And that's why I bring it up, because if he gets the max deal, there'd be a 4-year extension worth $138 million.
He overrates himself. That's for sure. I'm going to say Draymond Green overrated, because a lot of people are always like Steph, Clay, Draymond, Steph, Clay, Draymond. You're like,
well, Steph wants him, they want him to make that happen. Steph's
right
in his corner on this. And you're right. It's those three, right? And those are the three that have been together for all these titles. And now you have a crossroads basically for the Warriors, because they're not going to spend money. You have 4 players you have to decide on max deals with.
For example, Horace Grant, underrated.
Agreed.
Underrated. And
we saw that the first year they didn't have him.
Absolutely. Not only did they not have him, he went to the Magic and they got out fucking rebounded and they got out defensed and they lost to the Magic with Horace Grant, and Michael Jordan tucked his tail between his legs and was like, go get my literal arch nemesis, who is Horace Grant on steroids, who is like the epic Hall of Fame elite version of Horace. Go get me the best version of Horace Grant. And the Bulls went out and did that. And that is why it happened. But my point is, back in the day, it wasn't MJ, Scotty, Horace, MJ, Scotty, Horace. They were just like, it's MJ and Scotty. Yeah, Horace Grant's on the team, but he was there. He was there, Draymond Green.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So the Warriors have contracts up for Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson. And they have to decide who they're going to pay. Now, personally, if I look at this list, I'd say if I could pay 2 of them, this is just me, people might think I'm crazy, I pay Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. If I can only pay 2 of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Draymond. Here's the thing. I feel like for this team, they have wings, they have scoring, they have whatever. You almost can be like, now Wiggins was amazing in the playoffs. I mean, it's the fact that they have all those guys is why they have the championship. But like, I don't think you can pick both of those guys over Draymond. I think you can pick one of those guys and Draymond. And that's going to be
Wiggins can also play. Wiggins can also rebound and play defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's younger and he's more athletic. I mean, he was the former number 1 overall. That's my argument.
I think you almost go Wiggins, Draymond, and use Jordan Poole to, Jordan Poole has value to you in potentially a sign and trade and whatever. Like, he's great, but like, do you need him? You need a Draymond type. Now, I agree.
Well, everybody does.
Yeah, I've said before, you could probably go get 90% of Draymond at 30% of the money, and maybe that's the move. But that's a big risk to take, considering
team chemistry.
Yeah, all that. But the bottom line is, the wise business decision would be to do that without paying Draymond. Like, the fact that Draymond wants a max deal is kind of ludicrous. So if that's the reasoning behind it, I'm fine with that. You can't let a guy hold you hostage for a max deal because he gets along with your best player.
He's 32. He's no spring chicken. That's my point. Like you've been in the league for a minute.
I don't know if Andy Laz checks in on our show from time to time. I don't know if Andy Laz is in the YouTube comments or if he's watching today, but if he hears this at any point, Andy Laz, like he's a reasonable guy. He has another Warriors championship coming that he's just coming off of. He loves Draymond. You can't want to give him a max deal, right? Like that's really the only question mark here. The question mark isn't which of those do you choose Draymond over either of those guys. It's neither of those guys are going to demand a max deal.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about Klay Thompson.
Right.
I just think he's been so injury prone.
I almost think that's why Klay Thompson is like, so much more important to the Warriors than Draymond is because he's not going to demand a max deal. Right.
That's what they're saying.
He's going to also demand a max deal?
No, they're saying he will not.
Right.
They're saying he won't demand it.
And I would almost say he's more qualified for one. I know he's coming off injuries, but he's almost more qualified for one based on what he's done in the NBA than Draymond Green.
Yeah.
But he won't, which is why he's great. Which is like, Draymond, know your role.
Klay Thompson, underrated.
Yeah, for sure. There were pre-injury Klay Thompson could have gone to other teams and been an MVP candidate. Pre-injury Klay Thompson could have gone to a team, been the one, scored 32 points a game.
Yeah, I was gonna say he put around 30 a game if he's the guy on a team, on a shitty team.
He could have done what Harden did in leaving OKC. He could have like that was fully within his realm. But didn't take that. Didn't need that. Didn't need the accolades. Didn't need the money.
Chris Mullin's flat top, overrated or underrated?
I think this is really easy, actually. I think Chris Mullin's flat top, overrated solely because Chris Mullin's butt cut from earlier, underrated. Everybody kind of acts like, oh, he looked like such a dork, and then he went with the flat top, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Old school butt cut, Chris Mullin flopping his hair around Queens, getting lefty buckets, St. John's. Yeah, I got a butt cut. What are you gonna do about it? Look, my hair looks like butt. Okay. You know what butt starts with? BU. You know what bucket starts with? BU. Butt cuts get buckets. And they're like, you really need to rebrand. Well, I'm going to liberal California. Should I remain having floppy hair like all those people in the hate Ashbury district? No, I should look like a Marine. Okay, it seems like a good move for California. I should look like a Marine. Okay. Overrated flat top, underrated butt cut.
I don't know if I've seen him with the butt cut.
You've seen like put in like long hair Chris Mullin or put in Chris Mullin St. John's. He had the old school, like 80s bad guy in a movie hair.
Oh, yeah. I have seen this.
It's feathered. It's not a big deal. Let's not talk about it. Okay, I had feathered hair. What are you going to do? The guy who cut my hair also cut John Travolta's hair for Saturday Night Fever. What are you going to do? Listen, it was the hot look at the time.
He was on the Dream Team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to think, Chris. You think that was like a token white guy thing? Him and John. Well, John Stockton deserved it, but do you think?
Bird. They had Bird, Leitner.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Stockton. They had plenty of white guys.
How did Mullin get that over Isaiah?
Mullin was good. Well, Isaiah, we know why Isaiah wasn't on the Dream Team.
Well, because Jordan. Yeah. No, I know Mullin was good. I'm not trying to disrespect Mullin, but like Dream Team good.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously Leitner was the like, what the fuck is he doing here guy? But they were committed to having the one college dude. I'm trying to think if there's like a last man on the bench that wasn't Leitner and like who? Stockton, Malone, Ewing, Robinson,
Charles
Barkley, Bird,
Scottie
Magic,
Pippen.
Drexler.
God, I mean, that team was so stacked.
Drexler was sort of peak Drexler at the time. That was Drexler's peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see a minutes breakdown of the dream team. Do you think besides Leitner that Mullin got the least minutes? I know Bird didn't play a ton too because his back was like hurt. So he was in there. He would play in spurts. I'd love an Olympic minutes breakdown.
Well, luckily the power of the internet.
They have that?
I can do per game minute breakdown.
Yeah.
Actually, I can do minutes played.
Fuck yeah. This is amazing. I love the internet.
Guess
I
who
love
played
I love the internet. It's great. Love it.
Dude, this is shocking. Chris Mullin had the fourth most minutes played.
Wow.
No, hold on. No.
Who had the least minutes played?
No.
Robinson?
Incorrect. Chris Mullin had the second most minutes played.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, look, listen, when you're up by 40, you put in the haircut. And you know how quickly we got up by 40? About 8 minutes. So I would sit the first 8 minutes, the game would be up 40. I'd go in, splash, buckets. I look just like the guy who used to come to your country with a rifle and take it over.
So this is the minutes breakdown from the dream team.
Hey, Germany, remember me? World War II, flat top guy, flat top white guy with a rifle, buckets.
Jordan had the most minutes, of course.
Right.
Number 2 is Mullin.
Yeah.
3 is Scottie Pippen.
Yep.
4 is Clyde Drexler. I mean, a lot of these are so close for the record. If you look, I mean, we're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah. So I'm sure they had a serious rotation.
Oh, they had a serious rotation because I don't know what the Olympic minutes are. Like, I don't know how many minutes are played. I forget in Olympic basketball.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like we're really splitting hairs. Then it goes Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Christian Leitner, John Stockton. But I don't know if he was hurt because everybody played 8 games and Stockton played 4, which makes me think he got hurt.
Yeah.
Unless they just didn't want to see those pale white legs.
So Stockton was below Leitner?
Yeah. I'm thinking,
and Leitner was last?
I'm thinking Stockton got hurt, right?
Yeah. So from the bottom up, it's Stockton,
Leitner, David Robinson, Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing. I mean, nobody averaged more than 23 minutes a game, which was Jordan. And excluding everybody but Stockton and Leitner, then it's like almost 17 minutes a game. Does that make sense? So even from like the most to the least, we're having a difference of 6 minutes per game.
Right.
I want to get one of those old Dream Team jackets. Remember those?
Yeah.
They're like ugly as hell, but it'd be kind of fun to have one.
And Jordan covered it with the flag because it was a Reebok thing.
Oh,
you remember that?
Right. That's right.
You wore the flag as a coat because he was a Nike guy. He wouldn't wear the Reebok warm-ups.
You talk about somebody who did it for the brand.
Yeah.
But also,
the thing I remember about back then is a lot of the people who hated Colin Kaepernick were really, really angry about Michael Jordan doing something that is illegal with the United States flag and wearing it as a piece of clothing, which in the literal American flag rules, you're not allowed to do. I remember a lot of those people being like, disrespecting the flag. You're fucking disrespecting the flag. I remember it. They were outside their houses screaming. I remember it like it was yesterday. No, I don't. I don't remember that at all.
So I remember the first game. It's so weird the memories you have. I remember watching it. I was visiting my great aunt in a nursing home with my mom, and we had the game on in her little room. My Aunt Fanny. Isn't that such an old school name? No one's named Fanny now.
No.
You Imagine if you met a girl on like Bumble and she's like, "What's your name?" Like Fanny. You're like, I don't know about this one.
Aunt Fanny, what are you doing? I'm just going to hang out with my friends, Ruth and Ethel. We're all going to play cards. And you're like, can you imagine going out to a bar and meeting a girl and her being like, my name's Fanny. This is my friend Ruth and Ethel. You'd be like, are you guys, did you take a time machine here?
This is funny because, that's my grandma's name, Ruth. It was Ruth Ruther, my dad's mom.
Ruth Ruther.
Got Aunt Fanny. Had a great Aunt Lizzie. That's not as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that name. Imagine if you named your kid that now.
I'm going to do that. If I ever have a child, I'm going to go old school name.
Really? You like the old school name?
Yeah. Little Ethel Pray now.
What about for a boy? Old school name.
Ooh, it's good.
What's a Walt. Good? You go Walt.
Yeah, Walt's good. A Theodore.
But you're gonna call him Theo.
No, you go Theodore the whole time.
You go like Theodore the whole time.
Like the chipmunk.
Name his brother Alvin.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Theodore the whole time.
Or like Ignatius. You gotta go like some ridiculous thing that fucking whole families had, and then one day they just stopped.
If you name your kid Ignatius, I feel the pressure to have a significant, important life. You better be a badass if your name's Ignatius.
Yeah.
Like you better be a pro athlete. You better be something important. What about Cosmos?
It's too Kramer, right?
Yeah. All right, we got some sports shit to talk today. We're going off on tangents. It was Luis Castillo's final game as a Red yesterday.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
He's getting traded
for sure.
What's the deadline's the 2nd, I believe, correct?
Oh, they moved it back.
Yeah.
So that could be wrong. Or no, everybody's saying it was his final game.
Well, yeah, because it's the 28th. He's not pitching again before the 2nd.
Yeah. I posted on Twitter. I was going for a run last night. I mean, you talk about depressing. I mean, I posted pictures. I ran across the river on a couple bridges down by my girl's place. And they list attendance at 11,387. I don't think that there may have been, I didn't see 5,000 people at that game. Which, it's crazy because the Reds have like a young staff. Castillo's only 29.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to pay him, but my argument would say if you get some of these young guys like Ashcraft and Lodolo and Hunter Green, like if you in 2 years, they could have a badass staff. But of course, small market.
Yeah. And also it's a matter of, taking advantage of those teams that are out there now. There is for sure an arms race. So the way to load up is you get so much value just in personnel for these guys. You get 3,
but that's
4.
The question. Like, are you, because he's obviously the number one guy as far as the hottest guy. He's going to get the most return. Like, can the Reds get enough from a Dodgers, Yankees, Mets? You never know. It's you're kind of rolling the dice, right?
Yeah, you are. But essentially what you need to have happen is you get a couple of those guys and you're hoping that one of them turns out to be what he is. And then also you get you get another role player. You get
since
another
1974.
Guy. Sorry. You're hoping if you get 4 guys
since 1974.
Jesus Christ.
2 of them contribute.
I'm trying to play. I was going to play this clip.
Trying to play the Chris Mullin story. Since 1974, he's been rocking the flat top. Actually, I started in about 83.
So I thought of Dr. John Sarno this week, seeing the Mike Trout injury news.
Yeah.
I mean,
I read about it briefly.
It says Healing Back Pain, the book you and I vouch for, all over it. So He's been diagnosed with a rare back condition. He hasn't played since July 12th right now.
Right.
A condition called, this will be funny, me trying to pronounce this, costovertebral dysfunction at T5. It sounds like a futuristic airport.
Yeah. Where are you picking me up? Oh, T5 at coastal vertebrasis. God, why can't you just fly into fucking Burbank, bro?
Sounds like a future airport.
It sounds like an outer LA airport. Like Costa Mesa? No, Costa Vertebrasis.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
fuck. Is that what's that near? Rancho Cucamonga, bro. I'll be at T5, by the way.
So costovertebral dysfunction at T5, according to the head trainer of the Angels, is a rare condition that he has in his back. One of the most well-known spine surgeons in the country is looking at it, if not the world. For it to happen in a baseball player, we have to take into consideration what he puts himself through with hitting, swinging, blah, 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 daily basis. They're really not giving any info. So they're saying he's out indefinitely.
Right. It does have Sarno, because, the thing in the Sarno book, as you've read, is like, there's a lot of things that these now I know nothing about this specific thing, but it certainly sounds like what is mentioned a lot, which is in the book, which is a lot of people have these vertebrae issues between this vertebrae and that vertebrae. And half the people in the world don't even fucking know about it. And the other half find out because they complain about back pain. And then they're like, well, that must be it. Meanwhile, other people are just walking around. It's like, yeah, it's a rare condition because there's probably millions of other people who don't even know they fucking have it.
Yeah. Well,
now, again, I don't know anything specifically about this condition, but
the injury bug is starting to hit him.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder, we all know the Angels and their lack of quality teams and his career, and he's kind of stuck in no man's land, Orange County, as far as baseball is concerned. Nobody cares about the Angels out there. I don't know. To me, it has Sarno written all over it. He needs to just get a copy of Healing Back Pain. I don't know what's going on internally with him.
Well, I can tell you one thing: the fucking spine surgeon's not going to agree with you, but that's because that's what a spine surgeon's supposed to do, is be like, we can fix you.
Sure.
Let's go. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, dude. The Angels, I mean, not to bring everything around to New York as I always do, but the Angels are a great example of a team that's like, yeah, Shohei Ohtani is a great fucking pitcher, but the rest of their staff. And so you can get the fucking Ohtani also playing outfield. You can get Trout, get Rendon, who also got hurt. You can always, like, that seems to be like the Angels thing for a long time. Load up. And then you don't have pitching. And if you do have pitching, you don't have a ton of it. And if you do have pitching, you don't have a bullpen. You don't have whatever, like, not to come back to New York, like I said, but the Mets 2-game sweep of the Yankees, starting pitching. The Yankees, they hit their fucking home runs. They came to Citi Field, beat them twice because we had better starting pitching. The end. That was the difference. We had better starting pitching and we won.
Yeah. And that's all that matters come playoff time.
And that's and precisely my point is, first you got to get there, but then even if you are the Angels and you do get there with a ton of hitting, then what? Because that's essentially what happened, in these last games. Like, Yankees fans will fucking deny it all they want, but it's, you have two New York teams in first place, the first time in their history of the Subway Series that they've ever both been in first place when they played. It was a playoff atmosphere. It 100% was. 2 Citi Field sellouts, crowd rocking, Wednesday night baseball on ESPN, Scherzer on the mound, game 2. That was playoff baseball. I mean, in the bottom of the ninth yesterday, the Mets lead off of the double. They bunt the guy over to third. That's playoff fucking baseball. You know what I mean? That was a playoff baseball series. And when you have that kind of series, pitching, The Yankees, they might win 120 games this year, just hitting bombs out of a little league park. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a strategy to try to win the most games that you possibly can. But if you want to win a World Series, you better have some pitching.
Well, that's why they're going to go all in on Castillo.
Probably. Yeah.
So he'd have to cut his hair if he went to the Yankees. Everybody's talking. Have you seen this? Everybody's talking about it.
I'm assuming. I mean, obviously, these are all George Steinbrenner rules that the Yankees have kept in place, but they've gotten a little bit more lax over the years of the tattoos. For a while, remember Jambi had to cover all his tattoos and whatever. But Matt Carpenter, he doesn't have the beard. You're not allowed to have a beard, and you're not allowed to. But it'll be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see if Castillo was like, I'm not cutting my hair. So if you don't want to trade for me because of that.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't have facial hair when you played for the Reds under Marge Schott. You also had to become a Nazi.
Right.
It was weird.
You could have facial hair, but it's very limited. It was limited to a very small mustache. You could have an extremely small mustache.
What a wild era.
She's like, you can have a chaplain. We're going to make some silent films in the locker room. Wait a minute. I don't call that the chaplain anymore.
Dude, it's absolutely insane to think that she owned a professional league. Like, can you imagine just some lunatic owning a pro sports team now? Like, is there anything equivalent to her?
I'm sure there is that I'm not thinking of. I mean, first of all, Dan Snyder is living on a boat, living on a yacht off the coast of France right now.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to come back to the United States and answer questions about whether or not he raped his cheerleaders.
Wasn't that supposed to be today? No, I think I could be wrong. I think it was supposed to be today when he was supposed to speak before Congress. So I type in, dude, I love this. I type in Dan SNY into Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
The first three things that pop up: Dan Snyder, his name, Dan Snyder yacht, and the third one is Dan Snyder is a fascist. By the way, that's my favorite thing.
That essentially answers your question. You're like, is there anything like Nazi Marge Schott? It's like Dan Snyder is a fascist is the third term that comes up.
Okay, so there's an article today from ESPN. Dan Snyder testifying voluntarily before Congress. So he's doing the same thing where he's not going to do the subpoena, which means, again, he can plead the fifth on everything.
1, 2, 3, 4, fifth.
What a great sketch.
Yeah.
So you sent me this video that kept trying to play earlier because I don't have TikTok, and that's probably why it's doing that. And I don't know how to mute it. It's from Dan Le Batard's podcast. They're talking about Shohei Ohtani's stats.
Yeah.
I'm going to play this. This is pretty wild.
Since 1974, when Shohei Ohtani is pitching, the slugging percentage of batters with runners in scoring position is the lowest of any pitcher since 1974. It's 210 is slugging. They're not making contact. They're not hitting the ball hard. They're 210. But also since 1974 with runners in scoring position, hitting, he's got the highest slugging percentage since 1974.
What?
That's correct.
That's wild.
He's the best baseball player. Like, this is the best baseball player we've ever seen. And baseball people know it, but nobody else does.
I mean, that's wild.
It's wild.
So since 1974, he is the best slugging percentage as a hitter and the
least slugging percentage as a pitcher. Which is like, okay, listen, they're random. It's not, it's not the most, it's not batting average. It's not like what's his ERA with guys on second. It's not whatever it is. But at the same time, it's just another one of those Shohei Ohtani stats where it's like, every stat, I've mentioned the tweet a couple times and I've seen a couple different versions of it, but it's always like Shohei Ohtani just did this something that hasn't been done since, Ichabod Smith of the fucking, Dayton Cannibals did in 1814. It's always like, it's insane that the guy just even exists. I mean, we are at a point in the baseball evolution where we got so far away from, we don't even have guys who play multiple positions that much anymore. We don't have guys, we have fucking everybody.
We have guys who come in for 2 pitches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have a specialist. We have the idea that we have, regardless of, is he the greatest pitcher since 1974? Of course not. Is he the greatest hitter since 1974? Of course not. But the fact that there's even statistical categories,
it's like LeBron
where he's
James
the leader in that, and in both aspects, pitching and hitting. It is wild. I mean, he is one of the great baseball players when you consider all the things that we've seen in our lifetime. I mean, we would, when you have the great pitchers, when you have Madison Bumgarner and you have Jacob deGrom and you have these guys and they have, Noah Syndergaard hits 2 home runs at Dodger Stadium. Madison Bumgarner hits like 6 in a year. People lose their goddamn minds. Shohei Ohtani's not on their level as a pitcher, but he's pretty goddamn, like, he's in the same realm. He's in the same atmosphere as those guys, and he's hitting 40 fucking bombs a year.
Underrated.
Oh, I mean,
well, when you
underrated.
When you sent me this, I said it's amazing to me that nobody knows this, including myself. I host a sports show, and I said, whoever is running the marketing, whoever's works in marketing, is in charge of marketing for Major League Baseball, they all need to be fired.
Yeah.
Because
and listen, I get that Shohei Ohtani doesn't speak great English, but like, I feel like Major League Baseball lost.
Neither does David Ortiz.
Right. But I feel like Major League Baseball has lost the plot from what they were think about how many times in the 70s, and I'm only saying the 70s because that shit would be replayed and run over, but like the 80s and the 90s where you had baseball players doing commercials, and it's like, okay, so write a funny commercial about Shohei Ohtani not speaking English.
Put him in a Toyota commercial. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
have him sell Yoshinoya bowls. I don't know.
I know a lot of NBA players
say there's no Japanese word for diarrhea, and have him sell,
I've never eaten there. I have never eaten there. I have never eaten at Yoshinoya ever.
It's bad.
That was one of the, I think we've talked about this. It was one of the first places when I moved to LA. You don't have.
It's bad.
You don't have a fast food place like that. Where else outside of California?
I've never seen them outside of California.
And I was just like, what the hell is Yoshinoya?
It's the Japanese version of
Taco Bell.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously the Chinese food has what's fucking, the Panda
Express.
But like quality wise, Panda Express is way, like, I've eaten Yoshinoya and I've been like, oh, this is good for 2 bites. And then you're like, this is the Subway of fucking Japanese food.
Oh no. The Subway.
Like, this doesn't seem like it's beef.
How many times do you think Yoshi has eaten Yoshinoya?
It's a great question. He either eats it daily or he like refuses to eat it. He's never had it in his life. There's no in between. He hasn't had it 6 times. No way. He's either like that is the most offensive restaurant on planet Earth, or he somehow has like a celebrity gold card and doesn't pay for meals there and buys meals and stores them in his freezer so that he can have them when he gets back from like experiments.
I love that you think Yoshi has a freezer. He's living on someone's couch. I mean, come on.
Randy Puga is just like, I have 80 bowls from Yoshinoya that are in my freezer. I can't put anything else in my freezer because Yoshi's storing old Yoshinoya bowls that he had on a gift card that was expiring. I
got to call him back. I think he called me recently. And then I laughed because then I remembered how Yoshi slept in the basement here and did laundry at like 2 a.m.
But we've gotten away from the point. Baseball's marketing team is ridiculous. Like
Okay. No. This
I 100% agree with you.
Do more people know Yoshi? Yoshi is like got that infamous fame from all these different podcasts, including all like the mega podcasts that he's been a guest on, and they like. Or do they know Shohei Ohtani? That's my point. Like, it's probably on the same level.
I can say one thing for sure. American non-baseball fans know Yoshi more.
Sure.
And the thing is like when you're an elite athlete in a sport, you shouldn't have to be a fan of that sport to know who that person is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. I'm sorry. I just looked at the YouTube comments. Nick Yardley, shout out to him. Yoshi is in El Paso reviewing the Night Stalkers' old stomping grounds. LOL. I don't know if that's a joke or if it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. But baseball has an issue. And what I don't understand is that they don't just go try to steal, overpay some of the people from the NFL. Like, hey, you guys have seemed to figure out this whole marketing thing, or the NBA.
Yeah.
Hey, you got your guys' leagues. Hey, there's a lot of people in the NBA that don't speak the best English.
We've talked about this statistic before, and I still don't know if it's true, but it's close to, if nothing else, it's close to true. I believe LeBron James has more Instagram followers than every baseball player combined.
We've done this, yeah.
I mean, it's borderline true if it's not exactly
but
true.
My point is, you're talking about like, and I understand like Shohei Ohtani, it's not as easy because he's a foreign born player, doesn't speak the best English. Yeah. Same for all of those guys when they came in the league. Jokic is way more marketable.
Dude, there was Ichiro commercials.
100%.
There was Yao Ming commercials.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Baseball's lost. I mean, I'll ask you, do you see commercials for baseball players at all?
Never.
Now, I know that's like, oh, well, that's not Major League Baseball's decision. That's the companies that want it. But it's like, dude, do something about it. Like, make a deal with those people.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There's a lot of companies that sponsor baseball.
Sure. You got to figure it out.
Because you do. You have, I mean, and listen.
Here's an idea.
And Trout's the original version of that. Just like outside of the second biggest market in America, winning an MVP every fucking year.
Yeah.
The majority of people don't know who the fuck he is.
Well, I'll give you an idea right now. Major League Baseball. You got two great players on the Angels and Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Do a commercial. And I would recommend doing a Miller Lite commercial with those two, where Trout introduces Shohei Ohtani to America's finest Pilsner. Right? It could be like some sort of comedic commercial.
Yeah. Hey, Miller Lite, we can start writing these commercials for you. Like you not only did you used to use baseball players for ad, you used to use terrible old baseball players. Bob Uecker barely had a career. He was your spokesman for a while.
Great announcer, though.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
To talk about America's finest Pilsner.
Yeah.
And now is the time of year that you should be kicking those back, because this summer...
I kicked a couple back yesterday, Andy.
Did you?
Yes. Right here in my home. I have that Miller Lite sign that you've got right behind you. It was finally delivered here to me in the woods. I had to have them deliver it to a different address so I could go pick it up. I had to meet, no joke, Andy. I met the Miller Lite delivery guy in a park.
Amazing.
He was sitting on a park bench with my sign. I just put it up in my bar area. I posted it on Twitter. Check it out. But yesterday, and the sun was going down. I needed a little light, but you know me, Andy. I like it dim. I'm not a big overhead light guy. So I was like, oh, it's not quite dark yet. Maybe I'll just throw on this Miller Lite sign. And like the neon sign's supposed to work, like a commercial is supposed to work. It blink, blinked on. And the second I got hit with the light, it was like I was in a trance. And I was like, I'm going to go to the fridge and get myself a Miller Lite. I got myself a Miller Lite. I poured it in that golden cup they sent us. I sat down and I did what is honestly my happy place. I sat down with a cold Miller Lite and I watched baseball. And it was glorious.
Well, you heard it here first, Dirtballs. Next time you're getting ready to enjoy cold ones with your crew or by yourself, make sure you go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. A quick correction, or at least modification of the Dan Snyder thing. So he agreed to voluntary deposition with the House Oversight Committee today. He is testifying under oath, but the committee has the power to decide if the information will be released to the public, which makes me think, if it's not, what's the point of all this?
Right.
Really, what's the point of all this? It's ridiculous. In other NFL news, me and the money stuff, the NFL made a record $4.4 billion in sales, in ad sales last year. That's just ad sales.
That's wild.
4.4 billion. The Packers are the only team who has to release
public company
as a public company because they're publicly traded. They made a record 579 million.
A record for them.
Record for them. Correction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
and listen, the Packers are have a national audience. The Packers are a legendary team, but they're not a big market. Like, if you think that the Giants and the Jets and the Rams and the Cowboys didn't make significantly more money than that, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
No, I know. And that's what it's all about. The Packers made 579. Now that's gross. I forget. I had it somewhere. Sorry, I can't find it. The net earnings were like, here it is. I'm gonna pull this up. So 579, their net gross was, I forget. It was like 230 mil. My point is they still made 230 mil. Like, that's after expenses. They made that much.
Right.
So it's still a lot of money. And I have to poke fun at this Dan Campbell video, dude. I posted it on Twitter.
I haven't even seen it. I don't even know what we're talking about.
I knew. I was like, Joe's gonna love this. A video was posted yesterday from Lions training camp. You know, Mr. Inspirational, Dan Campbell,
right,
their coach, who led them to 3 wins in his first year. He's doing up downs with his players wearing wrist tape. And I jokingly tweeted something along the lines, cool. How about hiring a coach who cares about scheme and game planning, not doing up downs? Congrats on another 6 wins or less season.
Wow. You went 6 wins. Andy playing it safe.
I played it real safe.
Playing it real safe. You didn't want to get caught on freezing cold takes. I think 4 would have still been a safe. Still could have gotten a safe 4.
But, this is my point. You look at all these new head coaches, Joe. We see them all over. You got a new coach, and just start naming the different teams, all over. Miami, Denver. Let's just use those 2 teams. What are those coaches known for? Miami, Denver. The play calling, how they do things. The Lions are like, hey, let's hire a coach who gets down and dirty with his players, and he does up downs and wears wrist tape and gets up and he gets down and he says, I'm going to motivate. Dude, this isn't 1980.
Yeah.
Your head coach is a Rocky.
Remember the Lions. This isn't a movie.
You guys fucking suck.
Yeah.
For this reason.
In the movie, it brings the team together. In the movie, they start out rough, but they continue to see how hard he's working. He turns around some of these millionaire attitudes with their complacency. And he's like, well, if coach can do it, I can do it. But in real life, Aaron Rodgers puts up 55 points on them in week 3.
I just don't like, I'm just trying to understand this. Like this hire. At least your guy before that, Matt Patricia, at least he came from something, and he came from like the Bill Belichick school. Like did you just hire a guy who, it's like you hired the local fitness guy and said, here, you're now head coach of the football team.
It's like a movie. It's like a movie in that they like the team, the old owner of the team dies and his son takes it over, and his son remembers to his high school days and is like, I'm going to go get my high school teammate, Dan, to do it. Dan motivated all of us.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's basically Little Big League in football form.
So you're setting the wins at 4 for the Lions.
I mean, 4.5 isn't over. I would love to. What's Vegas's over under for Lions wins? I'll set my over under at 4.5. If the Lions will fight, I mean, okay, there's 17 games this year, but if the Lions go 5-12 next year, I'll be fucking pretty surprised.
Let's see here. Wow, they're setting at 6.5. Your quarterback's Jared Goff. They're not the lowest, obviously. Who wins more games, the Lions or the Jets? The Jets are at 5.5.
It's tough. Jets division, much tougher. I might still go the Jets.
What's that motivation that Dan Campbell's doing to Jared Goff? I want to hear that.
I have no clue.
Dude, you got to watch this video of him doing up downs. And then I noticed in the comments, people were like, look how lazy some of those players are. I'm like, dude, if I'm a player, I'm like, fuck you, man.
If I'm a player, it's not that it's my up downs are difficult in that situation, not because I'm lazy, but because I can't stop laughing.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I'm just like you guys.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be the coach. Give me a good play. We're going to do the wishbone this year. We're going to bring it back to 1930s Army-Navy games.
Oh, man, that would be the next iteration of this. That would be the next evolution of the same thing. Is like week 5, a bunch of guys go out with COVID, and he just puts himself in at tight end. Give me a goddamn helmet. He runs out there.
We better stop it, man. We're going to end up on the Detroit Lions Reddit feed again.
Oh, no. Look at these clowns making fun of us because our coach doesn't know how to fucking win games and to put fucking wrist tape on.
Can you imagine if like Bill Belichick went out there?
Bill Belichick's never played football in his whole entire life.
If he went out there with wrist tape. And first of all, we doing up down? Like up downs what you did in high school. We're doing up down? I feel like Allen Iverson. Up downs?
You're talking about up down? That's what the players are saying too. That's what the players are saying in the locker room. After the coach left, he's like, all right, guys, have a great day. I'm going for a run. And they're like, this guy's fine. And then the second the door closes, motherfuckers got us doing up downs. Up downs. I'm not talking about passing strategy, right? I'm not talking about
7-on-7.
I'm not talking about 2-minute drill. Talking about up downs. Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. Not something we'll ever use in a game. Up downs?
I'm talking up downs. I hadn't seen up downs.
Push up contest. Losers gotta run.
I bet that's how he gives out the game ball. Because they lose every game, and whoever does the most push-ups gets the game ball.
I mean, I feel like we're 2 weeks away from him putting like sticker helmets on. It's a nice tackle. Come get a gold star. I'm like, coach, it's something you do in college because you can't pay guys.
There's no bigger disaster.
You could just give me a tackling bonus.
Like, right? There's no like Cleveland has their issues. They recently made the playoffs. They won a game. They obviously have everything going on with Deshaun Watson, but they're no one, in my opinion, no one comes.
I was just arguing
to
with
the
somebody
Lions.
I was just arguing with somebody again, overrated, underrated. Two guys. One guy I think has been until surprise, surprise last year, criminally underrated, and a guy who I think is remarkably overrated, Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford. And I was like, Kirk Cousins has one playoff win in his whole fucking career. And they were like, Matthew Stafford had no playoff wins in Detroit. And I was like, yeah, we're not comparing. I was like, listen, the Vikings don't have, they don't have a Super Bowl. But I mean, we're not comparing the Vikings to the Detroit Lions. We're not comparing Matthew Stafford being selected first overall by a team who has had the first overall selection multiple times because they're so goddamn bad, and taking over a team with the worst record in the league, to a guy joining a team that had just been to the NFC Championship game. We're not doing that. We're not comparing the state, the modern or historic state of the Minnesota Vikings to the Detroit Lions. We're not doing that.
No, you can't. Nothing compares to Detroit. Nothing. There's just such, I mean, there's just no end in sight. Like, I don't see any end in sight. You traded.
That's because you don't believe. But there is an end in sight. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in your nutsack. You fucking ready? We're going to do up downs till you do believe. You're like, oh, this fucking guy.
Who's on Hard Knocks this year? Is it the Lions?
Is it the Lions?
Dude, I hope it's the Lions. Oh my God, it is.
Yes.
Hey, you know how you and I've struggled with Hard Knocks the last few years?
Yeah.
This might be a way to bring us back.
Yeah.
What dumb shit is Dan Campbell going to have the Lions do this week? I know it's not football related, but I've created a combat zone like you're in the war.
Listen up. Here's the situation. We're going to do things a little differently this year. I know week 2 of camp is usually doing 7-on-7, but this week we all take the field together. I put a gate around it, and I brought in an actual lion from the Detroit Zoo. First person to kill the lion starts a quarterback. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Kill a lion, start on offense. Kill a lion, start on defense. Get eaten by a lion, you're off the team.
No way he's wearing flip-flops.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jared Goff's like, what's a lion? And you're like, Jesus Christ. Like the Lion King? Hakuna Matata. They're like, Jared, just
I also feel like
have another Go-Gurt.
I feel like Dan Campbell, they always show the coaches in the office in front of their computer. I feel like he doesn't own a computer.
No. I feel like he does, but it's a black screen with green graphics. I feel like he's working. And he just plays Oregon Trail on it.
Hey, man, this might get us back. We just gave a great free promo for Hard Knocks, which we didn't realize.
You don't like me doing up downs with the team? Well, if you don't like it, let me know about it. Here's my fax number. And you're like, what the fuck did you say?
Oh, hey, coach, we got practice. I'm doing weights. Yeah. Like, I figure I just think he's like in the locker room doing bench press with his guys. Yeah. And they're just like, yo, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Go come up with some plays. All right, let's hop into some dirtball calls, and we'll keep it going NFL style with our first call. 310-359-8365. Another bad franchise. We'll start off with a Browns call.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jordan, the #1 Putnam County, Ohio dirtball. I was just calling in because Joe was talking about how the Giants have a bad Week 1 record. So my Cleveland Browns have the record for the longest winless streak. Right now, we haven't won on week 1 since 2004. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but this year, the Carolina Panthers and Baker Mayfield are probably going to kick our ass on week 1, which is just going to add another layer to the onion of sadness that is my existence as a Browns and Reds fan. So I need Prano to get on the show and say that Jacoby Biscoli is the meme of the rat dragging a pizza through the subway, and that way he'll lead us to the Super Bowl and get MVP, and the Ruther curse is unbeatable. So that's it. The condoms are for Joe's lack of knowledge of anything Ohio. Stay dirty, boys.
Is Putnam County in Ohio?
Yeah.
Is that a place? Okay. There's a Putnam County in New York, and I was like, okay.
That'll be a fun week 1 matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Baker versus old team.
Yeah. Unless, of course, it's Sam Darnold versus the Browns.
Yeah. So Baker, if he gets the nod, versus Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah. Jacoby Biscoli. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one.
We had a call, by the way, from CT. I'll just say it. And he said he was getting in a discussion about him. And he literally called him Jacoby Biscoli. And somebody was like, what? And he said, I've heard it so much on this podcast that I thought that was his name.
Yeah.
Josie.
Josie Bajol. I don't know who I take in that matchup, to be totally honest with you.
I take the Browns.
You like the Browns? Where's that game being played? This guy hates here, by the way. Ruther just took the Browns. Ship it.
Let's see here. No, it's in Carolina. That changes my opinion.
Oh, Ruther likes that Panther home field advantage.
I'm not going to make a call yet.
Too early. Too early
Too
to
early.
tell. You got to watch some Baker Mayfield preseason games.
I got to see who's the starting quarterback. I got to know the situation going on here. I mean, who knows? Maybe Deshaun Watson's playing. At this point, I don't know what to make of all this. All right. Here's a favorite topic of ours: propaganda in sports athletes.
Yes.
What's up, Joe and Andy?
By the way, what did he just get done doing?
Yeah.
I was wondering that when I heard the call.
I was like, is this Heath Ledger's Joker? He's like, I don't know how I got these scars.
What the fuck? Let me play that again. What the fuck, dude? What are you? Did you just swim a lap and you're like gasping for air?
I'm hoping it was just like, this is the first breath after a huge exhale of bong hit. He's just like, all right, let's go.
What's up, Joe and Andy? Mark calling from our beautiful
Sounds like he's in
Tar Heel
space.
state.
Yeah.
I am a semi-long time listener, but a first-time caller. I had a question mainly for Joe. After hearing you basically take a chainsaw to the Derek Jeter documentary on the second most recent episode, and also hearing you and Andy basically, take apart how Kobe Bryant was portrayed in the media, I just wanted to ask, who do you think had the more propagandized and glamorized career? Jeter or Kobe Bryant?
Oof.
Personally, I'm not a baseball guy, really, so I can't really answer that question, but I'd love to hear what you think and just get your thoughts. Condoms are for Tom Brady and his fans. Stay dirty.
To
That's
me,
a
this
great
is
question.
actually really, really easy. And it's Derek Jeter.
Really? Why is it easy?
Here's the reason it's easy. Kobe Bryant is overrated. Both these guys overrated, right? But here's the situation. Kobe Bryant was a great basketball player. Derek
Sure.
Jeter was a great baseball player. Kobe Bryant's somewhere between the 15th and 20th best player of all time, in my opinion. And that's me. And that's there's a lot of people that would probably say I'm underrating him. Okay, let's just call it 15. By WAR, Derek Jeter by WAR wins above replacement players. Derek Jeter is the 11th best shortstop of all time and the 94th best player of all time. Derek Jeter has a lower career WAR than Alan Trammell, who got into the Hall of Fame, I believe, on his 13th try.
Yeah, it was insane.
Derek Jeter got into the Hall of Fame on his first try with a unanimous vote. He got in with a higher voting number than Tony Gwynn, than Cal Ripken, than Robin Yount, than guys who were better than him at his position. Let alone, he's the 90-something best player of all time in WAR. He has a 6-part ESPN primetime documentary. It's insanity. Derek Jeter by WAR is the 11th best shortstop of all time. Kobe Bryant is an elite all-time basketball player. Now, his overrating comes from, and that's why I'm a Kobe truther, not a Kobe hater. I've never said Kobe Bryant isn't fucking amazing. But you guys make the Kobe legacy absurd when you talk about him top 5, when you talk about him above LeBron, when you talk about him above Shaquille O'Neal, who carried him to 3 of his 5 titles. But Kobe Bryant was the second best player on those 3 Shaq championship teams. No one's arguing he's not.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was a top 2 player on 5 championship teams. I don't think Derek Jeter was a top 2 player on any championship team. He's somewhere in the 90s in career WAR. I'm about to start a fucking TikTok series called Sports Takes That Shouldn't Be Controversial, but are controversial because the internet's a cesspool of garbage. Pete Rose, infinitely better career than Derek Jeter. And had a very similar role in what they did. Right? Table setters on multiple championship teams in front of stacked lineups. That let's be honest, that was Derek Jeter's role.
Sure.
That was Pete Rose's role. Big red machine, table setter, stacked lineup. Get on base, score. Okay? Pete Rose has 3 batting titles, a league MVP, and 600 more hits than Derek Jeter. Now, we know why Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame, but if you go around and you ask Pete Rose or Derek Jeter, the whole world will tell you Derek Jeter, and the whole world is insane. You're a Cincinnati guy. I was just arguing this the other day. Derek Jeter's career WAR is 94, I believe. 94 wins above replacement player. Joe Morgan's is 102. Joe Morgan had an MVP. A league MVP. Joe Morgan title teams. No one's out there claiming. Adam Shine just claimed Derek Jeter's the greatest shortstop of all time. Find a single baseball player alive today outside of the city of Cincinnati and maybe myself who would say Derek Jeter wasn't better than Joe Morgan, and all of them are wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Kobe Bryant's the 15th best player in basketball history. That's about where Derek Jeter lands at his position that he couldn't field.
Well, Morgan was second baseman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. I think if you really think about it.
Both great, both fantastic players, both very Hall of Fame deserving.
What did you say Jeter's WAR was?
I believe it was like 96 or 94, something like that. You can look it up. And he's in the 90s or the 60s and something like that in career WAR. Career WAR leaders. Wins above replacement players. Derek Jeter is...
I think he's lower
94. Sorry, 94, yeah. 71.3 wins.
So he's right around Larkin. Larkin's 70.5.
Yeah, no shit.
Which is interesting.
Now, the other thing is there's 50 different fucking equations for WAR.
Sure.
But Joe Morgan, if you go to this is Baseball Reference.
Yeah.
Joe Morgan, 100. So literally 30% more.
Pete Rose is 65th overall.
With the batting titles, with the MVP, with more hits.
Yeah. You know, when I heard the call, I was like, this is a good one. It's tough to disagree with your argument about Jeter being more overrated or more propagandized. It's really tough.
I mean, let's just go Baseball Reference WAR. Okay. Let's take a guy. No steroid complaints, right? No steroid complaints in the same realm. I mean, Barry Larkin, fine. Barry Larkin's below. Rafael Palmeiro's that. Larry Walker. Larry Walker. What are we going to do? Coors? Is that the excuse? Okay. Jim Thome. Let's go ahead. Jim Thome.
They say steroids on him.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Reggie Jackson. Yankee. Higher career WAR. Won an MVP. In New York. God, could do it in New York. Could do it
here's my thing about
all the things.
My thing about Jeter is
where is his farewell tour?
He was so bad defensively. That's half the game. That's my thing. Like, you can't argue that. So when you bring up these guys who say he's the greatest shortstop of all time, it's laughable. It's idiotic. It's just wrong. You can't tell me that you sucked. Like, he sucked. Kobe did not suck on defense. You know, it's half the game. Like, Jeter sucked defensively. He was awful. That's half the game.
Now, the important thing with Jeter's defense is this. He wasn't awful in that he was like booting balls. You know, he was a solid defender. Where he was awful is in he didn't get to shit. So, cool. On a team where you fucking mash. So here's a fun Derek Jeter fact. I'm gonna pull it up just to see where we're at. Derek Jeter and Tony Gwynn played the same amount of seasons. I'm gonna pull up Tony Gwynn's stats just so I have it right. Tony Gwynn played total games 2,440. Derek Jeter, total games, they both played 20 seasons. 2,747. Okay? So he played 300 more games. Derek Jeter had 2,000 more plate appearances than Tony Gwynn. 2,000. And he's got like 200 more hits. Do the math on a guy who had 338. He had one more double than Tony Gwynn. Yeah, When you're on a team that absolutely fucking mashes and you lead off and you get 5 at-bats a game because all you do is fucking stockpile sluggers, you're going to score a lot of runs. You're going to get a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And you can just be meh at shortstop because they'll go get a better shortstop and he'll cover all of the left side of the infield at third base. They got, Gold Glove shortstop, Gold Glove third baseman that they had over the years, just in Jeter's thing. Robin Ventura, elite defensive third baseman. A-Rod, better shortstop than Jeter playing third base. Cano, elite second base defender. Chuck Knobloch, multiple Gold Glove until he got the yips defender. Just constantly surrounding the guys so that he could just stand there and field every ball hit directly to him, unless a ball got hit to his backhand, in which case he would have to do some fucking Marvel movie Avengers fucking move just to throw a guy out. Turned into fucking Black Widow if a ball gets hit to his right.
Let's do
jump throw. The jump throw is absurd. You know why no one does it? It's ludicrous.
Let's do a non-sports call. This one's been sitting there for, I think, 30 days. I think it's at its max.
Hey, Joe and Andy. This is Derek, the #1 ranked Hudson Valley DirtBall. Calling in today with a non-sports question. So with Top Gun 2 coming out, and I finally got around to seeing it, solid 9.8 out of 10. My question is, what's a movie that was great but never had a sequel to follow up its greatness? And then what is probably the worst sequel to any movie that you personally thought was great? Thanks, guys. And condoms are for people that have those Blue Line Punisher bumper stickers. You are all closeted gay men. Stay dirty, boys.
Honestly, I would just like to say that is offensive to gay men. Those guys.
I had to look that up. I didn't know what he meant. Okay, so worst sequels. I mean, that could be easy to great movies like Jaws 2. Come on, man. Like Jaws is a great movie.
Right.
Jaws 2. Here's a sports related one. Major League 2. Major League was R. Major League 2 is PG.
Major League 2 is really, really bad. Compared to 1.
Really bad.
What were we talking about? Did he want he wanted movies that should have had sequels that didn't, and worst sequels, right?
Correct.
Okay. Because obviously we know some of the best sequels.
The first one's tough because I would argue if a movie's great, why does it need a sequel?
Right. But obviously movies are great. So when movies are great, they tend to make, like, if there's the ability to make,
like, do you want to see a Goodfellas 2? There's a Godfather 2, which is great.
Yeah, that was the rest of the story. But like, obviously, you tend to get sequels on movies that could be franchised and whatever, I'm trying.
By the way, rest in peace, Paul Sorvino. What's up with all the gangsters dying, man? The guys who played gangsters.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of like when gangsters. If you think about,
so many though.
But you think about The Godfather, right? We just talked about Godfather 2, right? Godfather came out in 1972. Godfather is the Big Bang Theory of gangster films, right? Like, and not by the show. I mean, the Big Bang, right? Like, that's when, after that, how many gangster films are made after that?
Well, look how many have passed away recently.
I'm saying, think about it this way. Guys who were old enough to appear in gangster movies starting in the 70s and the 80s are just getting to be that age.
It's depressing. I'll be honest. It's depressing for me.
You got to, you're in Goodfellas in the 90s and you're playing a 50-year-old gangster. You're dead now. That's how it works.
I know, but so many, from Goodfellas to The Godfather to Sopranos, like, we're losing a lot of these guys, man.
Here's a movie that I feel like is so beloved and could have a sequel. The Big Lebowski. There's more story there. Now I know the Coen brothers aren't going to make that movie, but they could. There's more story. There, Jeffrey Lebowski's got more. The dude's got more stories in him. I'm trying to think of worst sequels ever. Major League's a good one.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. Like I said, I mean, you just don't go.
And the thing is the Major League 2 isn't a horrible movie. It's just horrible in comparison to its original.
Sure.
Teen Wolf 2.
It's funny you bring that up. I've actually never seen that all the way through. The one with Jason Bateman?
Yeah. Teen Wolf's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Teen Wolf 2 is Jason Bateman's like a college boxer. Like they're boxing with headgear. College boxing, of all things. I'm going through the worst movie. That's a really bad one.
I mean, Jaws too. He dies. Jaws gets electrocuted at the end. He bites a thing.
I'm going to say this. You might not agree with this one. This could be controversial, especially to men of our age. But in the same way that Major League just doesn't compare, the Major League 2 just doesn't compare. Karate Kid 2, it's fine.
No, I agree. That's actually a fair assessment.
Karate Kid 1 is so good.
I mean, Karate Kid 2, the final scene is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're trapped and they're fighting for death.
Yeah.
And all the people are turning that thing. I mean, the premise for Karate Kid 2 is pretty wild. The guy's been holding a grudge against Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
For like 50 years.
Yeah.
And his nephew hates somebody he's never met and they greet him at the airport. I mean, think about it. Karate Kid 2 is wild. And Karate Kid 3 is even more wild.
Here's another really good one. I'm just going through the worst sequels of all time. Here's another really good one. This is like the movie equivalent of Jordan retiring, Peyton leaving the Colts, LeBron leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers. Speed 2. Speed, great movie. You take Keanu Reeves out of Speed 2 is awful.
Who was in Speed 2?
Jason Patrick. And it happens on a fucking like cruise ship or something.
I never saw it. Clearly.
It's horrible. Everything remains the same. It's literally Peyton Manning on the Colts. You remove Keanu from the Colts, just no fucking zero wins.
You mean Jason Patrick is Curtis Painter?
Yeah, Jason Patrick is Curtis Painter. Jason Patrick is rookie.
Who's the villain in it?
I don't even remember.
I swear I didn't even know they did a Speed 2.
This is a good list. I love that they put Police Academy 4 on the list. Like, guys, get how many police? Listen.
By the way, this is a podcast of itself. Shittiest movie sequels. You could review a movie sequel every week and talk about how bad it was. That's unbelievable. Do we have time for one more call?
Sure. Well, let's see what other Joe Prano thinks.
What's that?
Let's see what other Joe Prano thinks about it. Yeah, he's ready for it.
Okay. Let's do it.
What's going on, boys? Kyle Ranowski calling back once again from beautiful Toms River, New Jersey, the 1998 Little League World Series champions. I just saw on Twitter that the LA Kings announced their plans to retire Captain Dustin Brown's number 23 and build a statue in his honor outside of Crypto.com Arena. This is what was crazy to me, is the statues that are already there are Wayne Gretzky, okay, obviously, I guess, Luke Robitaille, great player, Shaq, Magic, Kareem, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Oscar De La Hoya all already have statues there. I mean, statues, you guys have talked about it, completely jumped the shark. But, I mean, is this just because the Lakers are such a legendary, organization and had so many, icons go through there? Or is this to sell, a merch pack and to sell out the game that it's unveiled? I mean, the New York Mets, we have one statue. New Jersey Devils, 3 Stanley Cups in 9 seasons, 1 statue. Martin Brodeur, that's it. We had a great captain for years. A bunch of guys won all 3 cups here. 1 statue. You do all the number of retirements you want, but these statues, man, I don't know. Kind of fraudulent. That's it. Condoms are for statues, I guess.
So I think it's an interesting question about all the statues.
I think I think you do devalue a statue the more of them you put up.
And I heard they're going to add Lisa Leslie. I mean, that's a lot of statues.
Yeah. Now
and he didn't, real quick, he didn't include the announcers. Chick Hearn, former longtime Lakers announcer, and Bob Miller, former longtime Kings announcer.
To me, the idea that you do, like, you can retire numbers, you retire the microphone, you did that's one level. Statues is a whole other level. To me, you have to be like, I'd almost argue you have to be the greatest player in the history of the organization to get a statue. And then the only other time you get a statue is if somebody else comes along and tops you.
And they're going to get a Kobe one too.
Well, we know that. To me, basketball-wise, I'm not even sure. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not even sure Shaq should have a statue. I agree. He played 8 years for the Lakers. I mean, listen, Shaq is an elite. I mean, Shaq's in my top 10 of all time. But it's like, what does it, I mean, how many titles did Kareem have with the Lakers? Like, to me, you start with Magic Johnson. If Kareem had been up before Magic, okay, you add, I don't know.
Well, there's a problem like that here in Cincinnati.
Honestly, Gretzky should be the only hockey statue they have.
Sure.
I'm not a huge hockey fan, but the Gretzky Robitaille era of the Kings is the only time in my life I have paid attention to hockey with some sort of real seriousness. Shout out to NHL 94 on Sega Genesis. But you really shouldn't have a statue besides Gretzky. I almost think you don't do Shaq, and therefore you don't do Kobe. If you want to do Kareem and Magic, I guess you do. But to me, if I'm the Lakers, it's Magic, it's Gretzky, it's Oscar De La Hoya. Sure. I guess if you got to do Lisa Leslie, you do Lisa Leslie. But then that makes sense. It's almost like your Mount Rushmore of LA sports. But dude, you do this. You go to San Francisco. You've been to the ballpark with me there.
Sure.
There's a Willie Mays statue. There's a Juan Marichal statue. I believe there's a McCovey statue, which they have McCovey Cope. I believe there's also a statue. You're like, how many fucking statues you guys have?
Well, dude, what's going on with the Reds? The problem is the Reds had too many good players for a while. So the Reds have Bench, Morgan, Rose, Frank Robinson. I don't have a problem with those.
Here's what the fucking Reds should have. The Reds should have a fucking Iwo Jima of the Big Red Machine. You know what I mean? Put up these guys as a fucking statue.
But then they also have Frank Robinson, who I think his first maybe 9 or 10 years with the Reds. Ted Kluszewski, like, come on, Ernie Lombardi, Joe Nuxall. It's like, I mean, I think the Reds might have 8 or 9 statues. Like, what are you doing?
And honestly, I hate to say it, but like the Yankees have a monument park. Do it that way. If you're going to put up fucking 10 statues, have a monument park. Put everybody's bust in your little fucking Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I say outside the fucking stadium.
Yeah, statues can be overrated here. We're going to put that under overrated. You can't have half the big red machine like you're saying. And like
in Seattle, I think they retired it, but like Seattle should have a Griffey statue. The end. The fuck are we talking about here?
No Jay Buhner?
Jay Buhner. I mean, I think they might have an Edgar one. That's the thing.
Well, Oscar De La Hoya, that's just ridiculous. He's a native of LA. So
I know nothing about did he have prize fights there at fucking Staples or anything like that. I don't know any of all that.
I don't either, but I just think, I don't know. I would say he didn't. I bet most of his fights were Las Vegas.
But like, if you go through, I mean, this is baseball and bad, like, but you know, baseball seems to be more staunch, but for most sports, you should be able to be like, hey, this person, and they're like, yeah, statue or no statue. And then that's really it. Like if I just go, Braves, what statues should they have outside Braves?
Hank Aaron.
That's it. We're done here. Chipper Jones, great player. Greg Maddux, probably the greatest pitcher in modern history. You don't get a statue, dude. Played for the Cubs, played for the Cubs again, played for the Dodgers, played for the Padres. Also, sorry, but Hank Aaron, black guy, South, home run king, like he just tops you in terms of statue legacy. Tony Gwynn, one statue. Tony Gwynn, San Diego, one statue. Yeah, that's it. You're done. What are we talking about here?
Who would be the statue for the Detroit Lions? Barry Sanders?
Probably. Maybe it should just be Barry Sanders, Megatron, and Matt Stafford, like walking out a tunnel. Their jerseys over their shoulders.
Dan Campbell's like, you better lift those statues if you want to practice.
It should be Dan Campbell, middle of a fucking burpee.
You're going to do deadlifts with those statues or no one's practicing this week. Yeah, I agree, though, with the sentiment. You can't go crazy on the statues.
Or else you like, this is why we retire jerseys. The fuck are we doing here?
Yeah. All right. Hotline 310-359-8365. Give us a ring. Share your thoughts. We'll get back to you. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. I am available at Andy Ruther.
I am available at Joe Prano on all social media. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Maybe we're going to start doing overrated, underrated hot takes. It shouldn't be hot takes, but people are cesspool of human garbage. We are still on Cameo. Just did a cameo for a DirtBall. Don't know if it's been delivered yet from another DirtBall, so I won't say who it is, but love doing birthday shout outs on the Cameo. I'm over there. I'm still on Twitter at Fix Your Life, and I've got shows coming up. Most notably, in order, I'm doing a show next weekend in Glendale. With our good friend Lyle Barons. He's got a new show at a wine bar. You've done a Lyle Barons wine bar show with me. We had a great time up in Oakland, I think, when we did it together.
Yeah, that was fun.
I've got August 25th at the Hollywood Improv. That's the one you want to come to if you're in LA. It's gonna be a long set, a lineup of my friends. August 25th at the Hollywood Improv Lab. August 25th at the Hollywood Improv Lab. August 25th at the Hollywood Improv Lab. Come see me. And then, of course, I will be in Vegas at the end of August, right after that. August 29th to September 4th, I believe, at the Comedy Cellar in Las Vegas.
What casino is that at?
That's at the Rio.
Okay. My old stomping grounds. I worked there.
You worked at the Rio. I've never been to the Rio.
That's where me and
crazy. Unless I've been while blackout. I don't think I've ever been to the Rio.
That's where me and Tug stayed when we did our quick day trip. Fun fact, when I was working there, Prince had just signed. It was very short-lived for residency at the Rio. And the rumor when I was working there was that he had requested every light bulb be changed out. They have this master palatial suite that Elton John would stay at, because the Rio is also owned by Caesars, and Elton John had that deal with Caesars. He would always fill in for Celine Dion. Anyway, the rumor was that he wanted every light bulb changed to purple.
Wow.
Sounds like a wives' tale. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was the rumor, that Prince wanted that. I don't know. Didn't last too long, though. I don't know what happened.
They're like, we can't afford the light bulbs. You're out. We're moving on. We'll put up a statue for you, though.
Exactly.
In honor of the 4 concerts played. Staples like, oh, yeah, you should. That makes sense. That tracks. Staples like, we're putting up a Michael Majid eating nacho helmet statue. By the way, if Staples is just not going to give a fuck, can we get Chris Wilde podcasting for the Clippers statue?
Amazing.
Can we get a Chris Wilde dancing on the Jumbotron Clipcast statue?
Amazing.
I demand Chris Wilde get his due. Chris Wilde, underrated.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. That's our show today. We'll be back on Monday, August. That's right. New month. You guys have a great weekend. Stay smart, stay safe, and most importantly, stay dirty.